This is the Marathon Handbook podcast, and I am joined by my partners in crime, Caitlin Tossi, Alex Sear.
Hello.
Jesse Lee Carveth.
So
Close enough.
Works. It
We're
works.
we're workshopping your last name right now. And I am your beleaguered, beaten down host, Michael Doyle. And we have just spent a very, very long, super intense day at the running event here in San Antonio, Texas. We are back safe and sound, cozy in our Airbnb. And we thought, you know what? Let's do a podcast.
The day hasn't been long enough.
It hasn't been long enough. So let's just do a little podcast where we recap all of the insanity of what we just saw, which is effectively a crystal ball looking into the future, into 2026, basically with all of the like running trends, all the gear that's coming out. My mind is jam-packed with stuff. Mm-hmm. I am excited to pick your brains about what is, okay, let's go through it. What is the big trend from the running event that we're foreseeing for 2026? The big takeaway? What are a few things each of us are really excited about that we saw on the floor today? What are some kind of head-scratching disappointments or misses, perhaps? Because there were some of those as well. Also, some of the little brands that we saw. Jesse, I know you were hunting little brands throughout as well. The little brands are kind of part of the fun. We'll get into that a little bit. And we'll do like a stock up, stock down on some of these brands as well, because pretty much every major running brand, big and small, and some fledgling guppies that are trying to swim upstream in the mighty river that is the running industry are trying to survive and just make their mark. And we'll do a little like, we'll rate some of these big brands and kind of figure out where they're at right now and where they're going. Okay, so first things first. Let's start with overall big theme or trend. Caitlin, what's your big what's your big snapshot, your big takeaway?
So much information to process. Yeah. I would say out of everything that we saw today, one of the biggest trends was the gravel scene, the gravel shoe scene. And I think that we've been seeing this most recently, and Jesse can speak to this better than I can, in cycling first. And now it's kind of come to the running scene. So these shoes, these gravel shoes, they make a lot of sense to me because it's, I'm a trail runner. And so when you're not running in extremely technical trail, a lot of mud, a lot of rocks, a lot of roots, but you're not running on the asphalt, you don't want something so aggressive. So you have a gravel shoe, and I run on a lot of gravel roads in Costa Rica. So it's like this hybrid in between trail shoe and road running shoe that gives you a little bit more grip than a road running shoe. So it's more comfortable for gravel and kind of trail-ish trail-ish routes. So we saw a lot of that. Because we started off with Salomon.
Yes.
Salomon.
I mean, what perfect brand for trying to push that narrative forward of like, this is something that runners should be interested in.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was the first brand that we saw it with, but we saw it with other brands as well.
Adidas.
Yeah.
Adidas of all brands. Mm-hmm. Super weird, but kind of like a fascinating shoe. Alex, you and I got to see it yesterday in this like kind of hip, ironic motel that Adidas has rented out in San Antonio called the Ranch Motel. Mm-hmm. And they previewed this shoe called
the Adidas Evo SL ATR. It's an Evo SL with a few lugs to make it a little bit more durable and trail friendly or gravel friendly.
Gravel friendly.
Yeah. And okay, so guys, the whole gravel thing, it's been this like burgeoning subcategory in running shoes, I'd say, for like the last couple years. But you're right. It really kind of felt like this year, like all these brands, including the really big ones like Adidas, are jumping on board with this. Do you think this is legit or not? Do you think this is a subcategory that's going to have staying power and is something that like our audience should care about?
It's kind of funny because I feel like personally it works for me, but I don't know how it's going to work for the general public. So I'd actually really like to hear what you guys think about it, because for me, where I run, I need a shoe like this because I'm constantly changing terrain, and I'm not going into the high mountains during the week, but I am changing terrain enough where something with a little more grip is going to be better for me than just like a run of the mill road shoe for all of these kind of like trickier terrains that I do run on, which are close to the road. So I would say for me, it is helpful. I already do own a few pairs of hybrid shoes, which they were calling them kind of before the gravel name came in.
Yeah.
Right. They were calling them like the hybrid shoes, and that these had that little bit more grip for different terrains if you're not always on the asphalt. So for me, it makes sense, but I don't know what you guys think.
I think there are use cases for these gravel shoes, but I think that the quiver that existed before the emergence of gravel shoes was enough. Like I live in Canada. I have a few months of running in the snow where things get slippery. I like to do a cross-country style workout every now and then, especially previously in my more, closer cross-country days. And yeah, sometimes it's nice to have a shoe that's got a little bit more grip, but you had that in the Clifton, the GTX, you had that in the New Balance Hierro. There have been shoes, I think, that served that purpose. And I don't want to jump the gun too much, but my overall trend I'm kind of piggybacking on your overall trend, and that is brands trying to find new lanes to sell shoes.
Right.
That's what the gravel shoe movement is, and I've noted a couple more, and I think it's responding to two things. One thing is that yes, the running boom is continuing. More and more people are running. Brands want to sell shoes. The other thing is that I think brands feel a little bit maxed out in some of the key categories. So we're not seeing that much improvement in super shoes. Right now, the Adidas Pro Evo 2, the Puma Fast R3, as far as I'm concerned, after everything I've seen today, some of which I can talk about and other things I can't, are still the two best shoes on the block. There's no killer super shoe coming out in the next year. I haven't seen it.
We didn't see it. No, we didn't.
Good point.
Because companies are maxed out, right? Like maybe in a few years there will be a Fast R3 killer, but not right now. So companies are trying to make gravel shoes and trying to convince us that we need them, whereas I'm not really sure. They're making shoes that are hybrids between easy running and going out on casual walks on the town. Not sure if I need that either. I've been chirped my whole life for wearing running shoes on the town. I've learned from my girlfriend and many other people in my life that you need two separate pairs of shoes, one for running and one for doing everything else.
That's absolutely true.
I don't know if you need both. And,
no running shoes on a casual afternoon on the town.
Especially ones that you've done a workout in, for God's sakes.
Yeah, there's a stench, right?
Yeah.
There's a stench.
She's right.
So yeah. So okay, I've talked enough. This is my trend.
Okay. So Jesse,
Yes.
you probably covered more of the expo floor than any of us today. You were on Instagram story duty for much of the day.
Yes.
Absolutely crushing it, by the way.
She ran into Ken and Issa Bakili.
You just at random, we get this like message in our group, in our WhatsApp, and it's like our group chat, and it was like, yeah, I just saw Ken and Issa Bakili, the goat from the track. He's just here. He's just here trying to tell us that ANTA shoes are awesome. And I don't know how successful he was, but so it's hot takes. It's late at night here, but he was here, which is super cool.
I have the photo proof.
Yeah.
He was here.
What's your big takeaway trend so far this year?
Well, I kind of have two.
Yeah.
One of them is the gravel scene. And like Caitlin said, a year, I guess like running's almost like a year behind, because like last year this like completely blew up in cycling, and it's essentially the same thing, just on two wheels. It's a hybrid between road and mountain biking, and it's gravel. And I see it completely with gravel running shoes, and how these brands were describing it as well, just kind of clicked right in there. And I think I'm almost of like two minds of this, and Thomas and I were also talking about it. I think in one aspect it's really good because it almost kind of like increases the accessibility, I guess, because say you're a new runner and you don't need a whole fleet of shoes like Alex might have. You don't need a whole closet full. You might only be running 3 times a week and only really want to invest in one pair of shoes. And this kind of allows you to not pigeonhole yourself to being just on the roads or being just on the trails. It kind of allows you to have that accessibility and to, maybe open the door to running. And then, maybe in the future you can kind of expand a bit, but it's a good like kind of entryway, segue into the running world.
But can't you just start with a Nimbus?
I think historically you could, but if you're a little like trail curious, you want to just do a little light trail running?
It doesn't pigeonhole you. Yeah. You can be who you want to be.
It's the jack of all trades shoe, right?
Yeah.
It's the Swiss Army shoe.
Army knife.
Yes.
But
we
then
heard that many times.
Yes,
today.
I did.
The other kind of thing we ended up talking about, and this was in response to kind of one of the comments, one of the like people at the expo said at Solomon, is that, we have two kind of buying groups basically, and the bigger one is more fashion. And so it's almost like we have where are we drawing the line between like the world of fashion and the world of running, because they seem to be kind of converging a bit. And that's where I kind of lose, like, is there really a purpose to this? Should we really buy into this? Or is this just responding to a fashion trend?
Right. Okay. So
you know what I mean?
If you have been living under a rock, Solomon in the last couple of years, I think, have made huge amounts of money because they're kind of like 10-ish year old trail running shoes and trail hiking shoes have become like lifestyle fashion shoes for people like outside of running.
Ever saw that coming.
And I think you're right, Jesse. I think what's happening right now, I think what Solomon's trying to do, and maybe this could be even considered a little bit of a cynical play on their part, but I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to create in real time both a shoe that satisfies what they think is a burgeoning subcategory in gravel, and at the same time they're trying to engineer a shoe that they think like influencers and lifestyle people and like fashion social media influencers will jump on immediately. They're trying to kind of engineer the next shoe that they'll have a huge amount of success with. I think that's probably what's happening. Although I will say this, they do look good. They're nice looking shoes. They're kind of neat looking. I think gravel's, I'm really curious to see if gravel takes off in the next year or not. I think where it does work is if you live in our part of the world, Alex, where we get some snow in the wintertime and we get some greasy conditions and we're running on uneven terrain, even though we live in a city. Like those shoes make sense for that because they're not 4.5 millimeter lugs. They're not a burly trail shoe. They're a light trail shoe that if you're running on a lot of pavement, you can kind of get away with it as well. Right. So
last January, 2 weeks before the Houston Half Marathon, my coach made me do what he called the impossible workout. 30 minutes at threshold pace, followed by 1 kilometer of kicking, even faster. All of it at half marathon pace, which for me is about 4:56 per mile.
You had to slide that one in there, didn't you, sir?
My point is that running on frozen roads near my house in Toronto to do this workout sounded daunting, and going to some gym and running on a regular treadmill sounded even worse. Luckily, Michael had a Wahoo Kicker Run treadmill stashed in his home in northern Toronto, and so I took advantage of that last winter.
So that's why you kept coming over to my house all the time.
I mean, I also came for the company.
Sure.
And mainly for the Kicker Run's run-free mode, where the treadmill uses sensors to adjust its carpet speed so that it can respond to your running speed in real time. So it responds to you, and not the other way around. Now that was helpful for the workout's kick portion, so I could accelerate naturally without having to worry about pressing buttons all the time. The treadmill also comes with the lateral tilt feature, which will simulate the angles of running on a natural terrain. So every step is not the same, which is a good thing. And it's kind of like if you're running outdoors. And bonus, the Kicker Run connects with a laundry list of third-party apps, including Strava, the Wahoo Run app, and Zwift. So you can run free in Watopia.
It's quiet, simple, and effective. The treadmill follows you and not the other way around. It's available in the US, the UK, Germany, and Austria. And now you can get a free Headwind smart fan worth $319 when you order the Kicker Run from Wahoo Fitness using the promo code MHRUN. That's all one word, MHRUN. Take our word for it, as well as the professional athletes that use it, including ultra runner David Roche, triathlete Chelsea Sodero, Olympic gold medalist Cole Hawker,
and now, me.
Yeah, my other big trend, and actually I'll give a hat tip to our new pal, Kafuzi, who we will feature in a upcoming video of our Runs Like Hell series. Mr. Kafuzi was nice enough to subject himself to it. And he said and we were chatting before we started shooting yesterday, which feels like a million years ago, yesterday morning. He said he forecasted that gravel was going to be a big trend. The other thing he said was durability was going to be a big talking point.
I was about to say, because I said I had 2 points.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Oh, that's okay. But my other one was also durability. And I really saw this when I actually checked out one of the smaller shoe brands. It was called Rad. And so they had 2 unreleased shoes, but then the one that they had already released, it was considered like a non-plated super trainer, they called it.
Yep.
I don't remember 100% of like the specs and stuff, but yeah, essentially it was a super trainer and stuff, but it lasted over, he showed me his wife's shoe and she had 1,000 miles on it.
1,000 miles. Whoa. So 1,600 kilometers.
Yeah. And
that's a big blown out, like pretty ostentatious looking shoe. RAD is the name of the brand.
Yeah.
Right?
And like, I'm no expert. I'm no Alex here, but like the shoe didn't look it looked worn, but it didn't look completely like destroyed and it held up really well. So I think, and then, like talking to some other brands, it was just about that increasing that lifespan of shoes. And I think that's kind of a bit in response to having shoes that you had to throw out after one race.
Alex?
I mean, yeah, at least
literally, I had the Evos myself, right?
Yeah. They don't last long.
They don't last long.
No.
The trade-off with these very top-notch foams is that most brands haven't figured out how to make them that durable. But the durability thing is cool. I think that a byproduct of brands throwing a bunch of things at the wall and trying to create new avenues is they've also thrown seemingly a whole lot of money at their easy running and super trainer shoe lines. Like the easy running shoes are very different products than they used to be. We even just looked at the ASICS Nimbus, which is an institution. We're at 28 now, and this one's coming out and kind of doesn't look like a Nimbus. It looks a lot more athletic. It's a lot lighter, and the foam's a lot better. And you start thinking, well, geez, it might even last longer. So, that's a good part. And imagine if you did a lot of your runs in super trainers, a lot of workouts in your super trainers. These are big shoes. They end up being very hard to beat down. You might be spending more money per shoe, but the shoe that you're wearing is probably going to last longer. And I think that's somewhat consistent across all brands, like the small fish, the younger players like Rad, and even in brands like ASICS and Puma.
Yeah. I felt like multiple brand shoe designers and leads at footwear leads for these big brands, and even some of the mid-sized brands as well, were saying that like there is now this perception that the super lightweight midsole foams that they've been using to create these max stack height, max cushioning shoes are not super durable, and that maybe they're not really super stable for a lot of runners. And there's just this overall sense that maybe there's like stack fatigue.
Fatigue. We heard that term today.
And so there's a move away from that to it in a not an abandonment of that. We're not going the other direction. No. We're not going minimalist. We're not going toe shoes. We're not going We're not going back to that.
Please no.
But just like toning it down a little bit and trying to figure out ways to make the shoes, more durable and sort of more reliably durable as well, more consistently durable.
And I think you also kind of have to think of the larger market, like these shoes that last one race, like, okay, they're for like the professionals or the really
they're for elite, like the total diehards.
Yeah. And you think about the percentage of runners that fit into that bucket versus the percentage of runners that don't fit into that bucket and maybe don't even race and just run to keep fit, to stay healthy. That's a much bigger bucket than runners who will buy a shoe that will last them a marathon.
So, neat things that we saw. Let's each throw out a couple of cool things that we saw that just could be a single product. It could be something that a brand's doing. It could be anything at all. Like what's a neat thing you saw, Caitlin? Something that you were like super like, wow, that's kind of cool.
A product. Okay.
Yeah.
Something
Anything.
that I saw. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we went to see the unveiling of the Glycerin Flex, which is the new Brooks shoe, which their S groove in the sole of the shoe was supposedly 10 years in the making. So this was
a long time on a shoe.
It's a long time. So it was a very big deal. Oh, here we go. If you're watching, Alex has a pair of the Glycerin Flex on.
The tag is still on.
The tag is still on.
Horrible audio podcasting, but incredible content for YouTube and Spotify. As Alex just pulls his leg up onto the table.
You're so flexible.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like, lo and behold, the shoe is on my foot.
Yeah, do not cramp.
Yeah.
And so this S technology. So Brooks was very excited about this because it was 10 years in the making. And this was Brooks's response to maximalism, right? So first we go a bunch of years back, and Alex and I were talking about this today, that we both had the minimalist phase. I started trail running. I was running in Innovate, which was like running on, nothing. And the old Mizuno shoes, which we may talk about, we both ran in, which were very minimalist. And then we have recently this huge maximalist era where we have all of these shoes with so much cushioning and stack height, and they're super comfy. So Brooke said, we're going to go and we're going to take a step back from that. And we're still going to give you the cushioning, but we're going to separate the forefoot from the midfoot so you can have some sort of flexibility. So I thought this was like a really interesting concept, because when you have, and a lot of these shoes now that are plated, you don't have that flexibility, right? So they wanted to kind of bring flexibility back into the shoe. So I'm really, really excited to try them out running. I just put them on my feet today. And of course, they fit like a glove, like the Glycerins do, which feel really nice. So it just feels like home still with Brooks. But this new technology is something that I'm excited to try out. So hopefully tomorrow.
This shoe feels like home. That should be like
that should be their motto.
Quote you and put it on the box.
Yeah, they should, because that's what the Glycerins feel like, and they still feel like that. But I really want to give them a try and see what this flexibility idea is. And I think they're trying to think out of the box, because they're like, okay, there have been so many maximal shoes in these most recent years that let's try to do something a little different.
Well, I should also say, and this is no slight on Brooks's design team, but it doesn't look like a Brooks shoe, if you know what I mean. Yep. It's a little bit of a design departure for them. It's a little bit sleeker, a little bit more minimalist. Now, Brooks has never been a super loud company, aesthetically speaking, but when I think about like really forward-thinking design and like really elegant silhouettes to running shoes, like Brooks are not the first brand that pops out to me. I think what they do really well is, like you said, they design shoes that are extremely comfortable from the first moment you put your foot into them. And they're pretty durable, and they're just kind of like, they're just great everyday running shoes that work. Now, do they have the best like bleeding edge racing technology and super shoes? No, they don't. Are they trying crazy new things all the time like, say, Nike does? No, they're not. But this shoe they're dependable. This shoe is like a little different. Yeah. So that's, put a little star next to that one. What's it called again? The
Glycerin Flex.
The Glycerin
and
Flex.
There's another colorway, which is pink, with the same idea, which is pink, which are the ones I have, which I absolutely love. So when I opened the box, I was like, that was also a draw to me, because I did love the design. And Brooks says they have done a lot of fun stuff. Like they always have, resident artists come in and do and I love getting those shoes, or like the cereal shoes. I have the Fruit Loop shoes from Brooks. I have a lot of like fun things that they do, but like you're saying, their day-to-day shoes don't usually have this look, and I think this is a really cool look as well.
So if this shoe feels like home,
yes,
in my hands today I held a mansion, a very light mansion.
Okay.
The Adidas Prime X Evo, that famous shoe that circulated the internet around the time that the Adidas made it to support this event, where they had athletes try to break the 100-kilometer world record.
Chasing 100.
Chasing 100.
Under 6 hours, right?
Trying to break the 6-hour barrier and 100K.
And it happens. And the shoe is every bit of ridiculous. The stack height is well over, or is 50 millimeters. And then they have those sidewalls that just make it seem so much bigger. It's the tallest shoe I've ever held. And somehow it weighs 4.6 ounces.
It's
incredibly
insane.
light. We're like in this back room with the Adidas product engineers.
Yeah, let's set the scene a little bit here. Let's tell the story, because I think that actually it's one of the coolest moments of the day. There were a lot of cool moments today. But so our whole team is there. Adidas, they're kind of like being a little too cool for school, because they were not on the floor. They had their own little secretive room upstairs away from everybody else. And you go in, and then you go into a room within the room. It was like a nesting Russian doll. It's like we're inside the room in the room, and they close the door. And they've got these two dudes from home base in Germany, right? Shout out to Mo and Harry.
Mm-hmm.
And Harry in particular, Harry's the guy who designed the Prime Evo X. I'm getting the
Prime X Evo.
Prime X Evo. He's the guy who designed it, and like himself went to China, to where they make their shoes, and he worked in the factory to do the 10 pairs that they had custom made for their 5 athletes that attempted to run the sub 6 hour barrier in the 100K. And we get shown this shoe, and it's super weird because it's not just a pair of these shoes. It's specifically one of the athletes' pairs, because each pair is designed for that specific athlete based on their needs, their biometric needs.
And it was a big question when the shoe came out. Would it be available to the public, or would this just be a stunt? And I didn't think it would become available. In my mind, I thought, well, it's probably way too expensive to make, and who's going to want something like this?
It's like kind of crazy shoe. It's kind of a crazy shoe, but there was massive demand for it. The stories we did on it, we put an Instagram post out when it was like when it was first leaked in their social media video footage of the Chasing 100 project being announced, and we're like, what the hell is this shoe? And that post went bonkers on our Instagram. So there was a huge amount of interest in this shoe. We got to see the shoe in real life. We got to hold it. We got to pick the brain of the guy who designed it. He was very forthright and shared tons of information about the development of this shoe. It was the most fascinating conversation I had today.
Yeah, well, he was excited. I mean, at one point in time, he probably thought there might only be roughly 10 people in the world who will ever try the shoe that I've been working on for several years. And now he's actually going to send it off into the consumer world. So I'd be excited too if I was him.
And we were not allowed to photograph it, but I think we're allowed to talk about it. He also showed us a production version of that shoe, because they have now put it into production. There's been a couple of scant pairs available in Europe. Like this week they dropped. And then I guess I think in January, he said, we're going to start seeing pairs sprinkled into North America. I think it's going to be just like one of these. It's going to be like the Pro Evo. It's going to be one of these impossible to get shoes. Super weird shoe, not for, as he said, this is not a shoe for everyone.
Well, and you can't race in it, right? Because of the stack height. So it's going to be a very specific, like, niche need for that shoe.
Yeah. And there's a lot we can't talk about from that Adidas meeting because there was so much that was embargoed, but let's just say we saw into the future in a lot of different ways. And our conversation with their shoe design team was illuminating, because I think Adidas is they're at the bleeding edge, especially of like super shoe technology. And what they were saying, where things are going, is fascinating. So I feel like right now there's a bit of a lull in, like you said off the top, we didn't see any Pro Evo killer. We didn't see any super shoe that is like changing the game that's coming out in the near future. But there was talk of what's coming next. And that, I think by the end of 2026, we're going to start to see a sort of next wave evolution in bleeding edge tech and running shoes, which will be really cool. Cool. You got your cool thing. Jesse, what's one cool thing?
Well, I saw quite a few cool things because I went to a bunch of the little places.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to say more than one, I reckon, because I don't want to say any like shoes really because you guys saw all the shoes, but I do want to mention, I guess, two like unique shoe brands that I saw and talked to. The first was called Swift Running. Okay. And essentially it's kind of building on this like accessibility. It's like accessible super shoes. So they're carbon plated like shoes. They're not any Nike like Vaporfly or anything, but they're made for kind of entry level racing essentially. And I think that that's just a super cool idea and a good idea to kind of get people maybe into racing more or into competition more, or people that want that super shoe experience, but maybe can't afford to drop $300, $400, $500 on a super shoe. I think that's a great concept. I think the brand has like some work to do to maybe get it into the marketplace, but I thought it was a super cool idea. And then the other one was a Velo Running. So Thomas and I went to talk to the two founders there. And so they're essentially, so when we're talking about super shoe technology and them being on the bleeding edge, that's all material. That's the materials they're building. But this brand is working on the digital technology. So think of it as like in cycling, like a power meter, but for runners. And so essentially it's these like small pods that come in the shoe. So you don't have to like calibrate anything or do anything. You don't have to charge it. It's already in the shoe. It is the shoe. And it tracks, of course, the basics like your pace and all that. But it also tracks different things like how you run. And then in the app, it can tell you various things like, is there an imbalance in the way you run? And it's almost like a Whoop where it tells you kind of like your recovery score based on like it was super complex the way they described it. But like if your running form changes and you're fatigued, like when during your run are you experiencing that? At what point? Like all these incredible metrics that I think could really help kind of prevent injuries for runners. And it's really, really interesting because I was thinking about it and it's such a cool concept, especially endurance athletes a lot of them are very data driven, especially racers and elite runners, that why hasn't a brand like Nike or Adidas or New Balance or whomever, why haven't they thought of something like this? Because I do think it is such a unique thing. And I do think it's something that competitive runners would use, especially, the injury prevention thing is huge. So that was one really cool thing. And then I guess I'll mention a couple non-shoe things because all we've discussed is shoes, but kind of one that I saw was really cool is like a portable hydration test.
Okay.
So it's
hydration test.
Yeah, it's this brand that right now they work with big sports teams like baseball, hockey, all over the world, and it's a pretty hefty device. But now they're making like a portable version and really targeting it towards runners and endurance athletes. And it's essentially, it just tests your saliva and you can use it pre and post run or race. And it can tell you how hydrated or dehydrated you are. And I think that's super useful because that's not something people maybe think about a lot. But if you're, say, racing, if Alex goes to Valencia, for example, to race, he's going from cold Canada where he may not need to hydrate as much and goes to hot Valencia maybe and doesn't think how much that could impact his race if he's going for an elite sub 62 half marathon.
No, but you know what? I could have used that for exactly that reason 3 years ago when I went to Florida after spending a winter in Canada and got seriously dehydrated on my second run there just because I wasn't really paying attention to it and my body wasn't prepared.
Yeah, and so that was something I thought was super unique and cool. And again, like I like kind of the data side of things, so that kind of really intrigued me as well from a non-shoe perspective. So
far 2025 has been the best running year of my life. I've had 3 personal bests in the 5K, the 10K, and the half marathon. And I don't think the secret is that complicated. I just haven't been getting injured. I think a big reason for that is that I've started to take my post-run hour much more seriously. So instead of sitting on the couch, eating empty snacks, and watching reruns of The Office, I've been taking Momentous creatine. So it's become a bit of a habit. I take it after my run. I like their flavorless white creatine powder. It dissolves in a glass of water. Sometimes I put it in a recovery beverage, and I have it after the run. I've never been a huge supplements guy, but with the Momentous creatine, there's no fear. It's NSF certified. It's used by a bunch of pro athletes, also every NFL team, and even the US military. Now, my goals are probably a little bit different from those of your classic infantry officer. I take it to help my muscles recover so that I'm ready for the next day's run. And bonus, we're also learning that creatine may be fuel for the brain. And so I like to think that it helps me stay sharp for this podcast and ensures that I always have something to respond to Caitlin and her wild facts and Michael and his sarcastic jokes. Right now, Momentous is offering our listeners up to 35% off their first subscription order with promo code Marathon. So go to livemomentous.com and use promo code Marathon for up to 35% off your first subscription order. That's livemomentous.com, promo code Marathon. Back to the show.
I would say a brand that I've been very fascinated by and curious about for the last year since we first met with them last year at the running event is Mount to Coast, which just the most kind of like batshit crazy bananas brand. Like their first shoe was a road, not just a road ultra shoe, which is in and of itself like what? Like how many people do road ultras in the world? Like
we're talking like hundreds of kilometers of racing.
And we're talking about
hundreds of people.
Less than hundreds of people that do it worldwide. But the shoe, their very first shoe, the R1 that they came out with, was designed for this. Race is a weird term for it. This like challenge in the UK of like running the full length of the United Kingdom of England, basically, and it's like an 800 or 900 kilometer. It's actually a very romantic idea. You're just like every day you're getting up and you're running all day, and then you, I guess, like sleep on the side of the road. It's kind of like race bike packing, but running. And
a
so
stage race.
Yeah, it's a self-supported stage race. And they designed a shoe for that, which, like what, a dozen people on earth would do an event like that. And then they've built out this like pretty incredible company out from that shoe into now they did a pronation version of that shoe, and then which is like, okay, that's like what, a dozen people on earth need that shoe. And then they did a trail shoe,
the hybrid shoe,
and they've done a hybrid. They've done a gravel shoe, which I actually think might be the best gravel shoe that I've run in.
Yeah, I like it a lot,
and I actually think their shoes are really good. And I've now talked with Yeti, the co-founder and the kind of like mad scientist behind the brand, a couple of times now, and we had a nice chat with him today where he broke down this new shoe and this new midsole technology and all this crazy stuff that he's been piecing together, basically working with like chemical companies in China and figuring out like he realized that like he's like luxury cars have this like super high quality paint.
Oh yeah,
that's
I
like
didn't know where he was going with
thousands
that.
of dollars. I'm like, what is he going on here? And he's like, and to protect that paint, they've engineered a very specific plastic filament that coats the car. So like when you buy like a Porsche or whatever, it's like coated in this plastic like tearaway filament. He's like, I realized that this plastic is like this really specific polymer that is like tear and scratch proof, but also incredibly light. And so he went down a rabbit hole on this, and he basically built out an entire midsole foam that's like was like a eureka moment when he realized that he could take this polymer and figure out how to do a whole new midsole foam. And basically out of that, he's then now built a new trail shoe that's really supportive and light. And then I think the really cool shoe that they've got coming up, they're calling the C1, is a super trainer. So my one minor criticism of their shoes in the past for like not people who are running a billion-kilometer road race, but people who are just running every day on the roads, is the shoes did feel ironically a little bit thin at times. I felt like I was like, I just want a little bit. The midsole foam is good, but I want more under my foot, and they've done it. They've built this like kind of max cushioning, no plate in it. It's just a big, chunky, comfortable super trainer, and it's also like their design is awesome. Like the shoe looks really good.
Yeah, nice looking shoe.
And so they know what they're doing, right? They have Ben Blankenship on staff, who's been a professional runner for many years, first on the track and now doing these long ultra trails. And I'm guessing a super shoe is next now that they have a super trainer.
I asked him about that, and he sort of said, you know what, our consumer didn't really isn't knocking down the door for us to make a super shoe. We're going to kind of try to build out what we're doing right now, but that could change in a year, of course. So that's one neat little shoe, the Mount to Coast C1, and it's a beautiful looking shoe as well. I think it's coming out like next year sometime. Another thing for me is, Jesse, the little brands. Like, it's kind of like going to TRE is kind of like going to a film festival in so many ways. It's kind of like going to like the Venice Film Festival, the Toronto International Film Festival, where it's like, there's your Nikes, there's your Brooks, there's your Adidas, your ASICS with with the Nimbus, with, the Alpha Fly, whatever. With the big star shoes and the mainstays, and they're just updating them or they're like reinventing them. We saw the Structure Plus is the new Nike shoe coming out in January, I believe. But just like a film festival, there's also these like little indie movies, little indie brands that may never make it. They may never get distribution. You may never see them again. And it's kind of heartbreaking to think about, but some of them have like really cool ideas. This afternoon, I had this random conversation with these two dudes from Houston that were 24 and 25 years old, and they've made a shoe called the Veloci, which means speed in Italian. They're two students from, I believe, Rice University, and one of them ran on the track and cross teams, and he was getting super injured all the time, and he wanted a wide toe box, wide toe splay shoe, kind of like how Ultra has done. But he's like, I can't do the zero drop. And I was like, wait a minute. Nobody has done a normal traditional, 6, 8, 10 mil drop running shoe that's got a wide toe box. And I was like racking my brain, and they're like, yeah, we couldn't really. So we decided to make one.
Okay.
So like they borrowed some money from their parents and a couple other people, and they got a grant from Rice University as well. And they've made 3 shoes. They have 3 shoes in their lineup. And it's kind of a cool shoe. So Veloci, they sell them direct to consumer. So they sell them online, and they're in, I think, like 30 or 40 independent running shops around the United States as well. So it's like, they're doing God's work. It's like, you hope a brand like that succeeds and finds a way because it's a neat idea, right?
I mean, one other, I wouldn't say they're like as small, but they're still smaller. It's a nutrition brand called Blanks. And I found it was really cool because it's a completely different concept. It's literally customized nutrition. So you essentially like fill out this form and you choose your flavor, you choose how many carbs you want in it. So you can have like 25 grams, 50 grams, up to 600 grams in a bottle, which is hefty.
Yikes,
wow.
yeah.
That is a hefty amount of carbs. You choose, and they have even, for the gels are also customizable. You choose like the viscosity, how thick or how thin you like your gels.
Oh, you get to like dial in
all of this.
your custom gel.
You can choose the electrolytes. You can choose the ratio of, I forget exactly, but the the 2-to-1 or for the types of sugars. And you can choose all these different things, and it's all customized to like your preference. And they had like this graph this chart showing their like price per unit compared to all the big players like Morton and all those guys, and they're a lot cheaper compared to the big players, but they're also custom, so you get exactly what you want, which I thought was really unique, and you don't really see that very often ever. So yeah, I thought that was also really cool. And yeah, they're not like the smallest. I know they're not super small. I know they are around a bit.
They sponsor a few like pro athletes, but yeah, in the grand scheme of things, they're
not a Morton.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, but it's not. So well, speaking of nutrition, Unwrapped, one of my favorites. You guys have tried the gels, right? There, maple syrup. I mean, you're from Canada.
Untapped,
you should love them.
Untapped.
Sorry, it is late.
Yes.
It's been a long day.
They're from Vermont.
They have a new flavor,
Yes.
and it's Christmassy. So yes,
I love Christmas.
Cinnamon, cardamom, cloves, and maple syrup. I'm going to try it tomorrow during the
I'm
festival.
coming with you.
Yeah, it sounds like Christmas, right?
We can do a taste test story.
Yeah, I got 2. So
Okay,
we can try them
perfect.
together. Yeah.
I'll give one more shout out to a tiny brand that like I probably spent the most amount of time talking to of any brand. And that
you're gonna
includes like
say the
Nike
socks.
and it's like I don't know why I'm so passionate about this product, but like Courier, Courier. It's a brand. It's a passion project of, I believe, 5 people who basically otherwise work very serious jobs for the most part in sports marketing or in the sporting goods world. Like we're talking people from Lululemon, Alo, a guy who works for the Major League Soccer, MLS, guy who works on the tennis side of Wilson, dealing with like pro athletes, like the top tennis players in the world. And they basically decided they wanted to build up like the best sock company in existence as like a side gig. They all still have jobs. And these are adults. These are professionals. This is not 25-year-olds. These are like middle-aged people who have like I believe your comp was like they're like the Avengers, basically.
They're the Avengers.
They're sock Avengers, basically.
Yeah. So they each took a week off of their own respective work and coordinated it for this week to come to TRE all together and get away from their families and the rest of their busy lives. Yeah, that's crazy. To like sell their passion project, which is they do like, I think it's 3 different socks, and okay, so you and I have had a couple of these pairs of socks since Boston. We like randomly ran into one of their people in an airport and got into this conversation with her. Shout out to Amanda.
And she like literally went into her carry-on bag and was like, I got a few pairs that you have to try these socks. They're amazing. And I have 2 pair, and like, it's, you know, when you have something and you don't know if you'll ever encounter it again, and you're like, I don't
want to use it.
I don't want to use it. It's like, I don't want it to end. I don't want to wreck them. I don't want to lose, especially with socks. You're like, I don't want my washing machine to disappear one of these socks. Exactly. And they're like my precious socks. Like, it's such a weird thing, I know, but
gotta try these socks.
They're really good.
I just happened upon their booth, and then I started talking to all of them, and they're incredibly passionate and very funny. Like, to the point where I was like, this gang would make for an awesome group of guests in a podcast episode, because like the hang was so great. And great. It's like, this is a great company. So if you're looking for socks, Courier, they do sell them direct from their website. And they're in a couple of different retail places, and they should be in more because they're awesome. Buy their socks because they're cool. So little brands like that. It's just like, that's the kind of like, that's the warm and fuzzy part about TRE, right? I mean, the cool, neat stuff is when you're like talking to the Adidas people and the Nike people, and you're drinking the Nike Kool-Aid, and you're seeing into the future with Nike. Mm-hmm. You're seeing all the stuff where they're like, okay, cameras off. You are not allowed to talk about this or record this in any way for the next 12 months, but we're going to let you see the future. And my brain is stuffed with this stuff, and I so badly want to talk about it, but we're not allowed to. So, but the little brands are kind of like what makes you believe in things again too, because they're like working hard.
Yeah, and then you track their progress year after year, and you come like, okay, I hope they're still there.
Yeah, you're
and
like,
maybe they have a bigger booth.
Hope
this
the
year.
booth gets bigger.
It's not just one guy this time.
Yeah.
So
that's actually what Mount Tico said. Like every year, their booth keeps getting bigger and bigger, and they're excited.
Bigger,
another brand, Canadian brand, Quebecois brand, Norda, who are like becoming like the most deeply respected trail shoe brand. Their booth was about 3 times bigger than it was last year, and they just have a whole lot more going on, and they're clearly a big focal point. Bandit had a pretty big pretty big booth going on this year. I had a really cool conversation with the co-founder of Bandit, and like a revelatory conversation. I have a totally different perspective on that brand now. I will figure out a way to talk to him for a podcast episode, because he is just one of the more interesting people in running. So they're in it for the long haul, which I think I was sort of surprised to hear that, because they're such a like slick, cool brand. You're like, must be just private equity money and they're trying to like sell. And he was like, no, we're like true believers. We want to be doing this for the rest of our lives. So just neat conversations like that. Okay, so let's go negative. We're just like,
I was expecting some sort of nice transition. Yeah. Let's go negative.
Let's get dark here. No, like
with every positive, there must be a negative.
let's go constructive criticism.
2 stars and a wish.
There you go.
A wish.
That was our dinner conversation.
Was it rosebud thorn?
As a teacher, it was the sandwich. We say one nice thing.
Positive, negative, positive. And the negative thing is what you really want to be talking about. So Jesse, to start things off, like a constructive criticism, something you saw where you're like, come on, guys, or like try harder, or that's kind of disappointing.
I mean, I guess there's 2 things, and one of the I feel a bit mean, but there were some smaller brands that just didn't put any effort into their booths, and that just, it's like, okay, well, A, you're paying to be there,
a lot of money,
but B, you're a smaller brand, you don't have the leverage, you need to make people want to come to your booth, and there were some booths where it was literally just like t-shirts on a rack.
Yeah, and your job was to like go find interesting things.
And I was like, I'm literally just walking by because I don't want to talk to you about your plain t-shirt. You don't even have a sign.
Yeah.
And that like it's like,
and you feel like, bad because
Well, is that just a testament to how developed TRE has become? Because go to another trade show and you'll see that. Mm-hmm. You'll see a lot of these booths where it's just like, hey, we have a rack of 12 t-shirts, buy them if you want. And that doesn't stand out as poor because it's so common.
Yeah.
I
also, actually, I realized I have 3 negative things.
Oh boy.
Okay. I'd say 10 years ago, TRE, when I first started coming to TRE, and it was probably about 10 years ago, it was a lot more of that.
But it's like you see like Nike's booths, you see New Balance booth, you see all these big players' booths. It's like that's what you're competing against.
And it's an even playing field.
And that's the thing. People are going to compare apples to apples here. Like, are you trying? And it's like, it's one thing if you are trying and not succeeding, but if you're not even trying, then you're already failing.
Yeah. Wow.
That's a life lesson, I guess.
Okay.
My gosh.
Jeez, what should you go for your number 2, or do we like intersperse our one bad things between Jesse's barrage of negativity?
I think I should just and then my second one, Lululemon. Lululemon.
Just period.
Just in general.
Mic drop. Okay, moving along. Yeah.
Lululemon.
They were here, which is shocking.
Lululemon was here, but it was not a expo pod. What did we call them? A booth? It was not an expo booth.
An expo pod. Yeah.
They didn't have an expo pod.
I like the idea of a pod.
It's late. It was a pop-up shop. And
it was like a Lululemon store. It was so weird.
That is not the point of TRE.
No.
Wait, this is like a stupid question because I spent all day at TRE. Are you allowed to sell stuff at
Apparently,
TRE?
because it was a pop-up shop. It wasn't I literally saw a sign.
The point of the running event.
I saw a sign that literally said check out. And I was like, I will not be checking out. And I will not be checking you out either. Thank you. Bye.
I didn't see one other booth that was selling stuff. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, there was one booth that was selling like similar shocks and that kind of stuff, and they were selling them. They had like cool glasses that were like audio as well, but then they like tried to sell them to me, and I was like, I just wanted to like look and talk to you about your product, but they just tried to sell it to me.
That is weird.
Yeah, that was like.
It's what? I mean,
I didn't like that. It wasn't in the spirit.
No.
And then my third one was actually Bekele, because
Kennedy to Bekele.
Yeah, because I showed up.
The greatest track runner of all time. And
I showed up there, and he was essentially, and that was like essentially the end of it. I caught him right at the end, but it's like, did anyone know he was going to be there?
No, but just like anyone else, pretty much in Bikili's entire life, you were too slow for him. And you were too slow to tell me that he was there.
Yeah.
My disappointment,
Whoa,
Jesse.
whoa,
I
whoa.
did. I did see him.
Jesse not telling us. Oh, you did see him?
I did see him.
Excuse us. I messaged you as soon as I saw him.
And I dropped everything like a fangirl and just ran.
I'm disappointed, Alex, because you weren't fast enough to look at your phone, I reckon.
I did see your text, and then it said 14 minutes ago, and I was kicking myself. I'll be honest.
We all heard that. You heard it here
We
first.
were on camera all day. We weren't really looking at our
But it's
phones.
like- it's like-
we have an excuse.
The brand could have
Sad.
done so much more with
You're right.
that. They
That's-
could
you're
have.
right.
They could have really, really leveraged that. But then you just show up and you're like, oh,
Okay, yeah. So
he's here. So it's like I'm not disappointed he was there. That was super dope. I'm disappointed in the way that ANTA, the brand that he now runs for, it's like someone called it the Nike of China.
yeah, they're massive.
They're
and no one's heard of
massive
them in
there.
North America. Yeah.
Just didn't like leverage that. It's like, yeah, with Gabby Thomas, Amazfit like really leveraged that.
I can't believe we've not talked about Gabby Thomas yet.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm waiting for you to say what's the best thing about TRA.
Okay.
So
well,
let's
And you
we'll
haven't.
save it.
put a pin in
Spoiler
it.
alert.
Put a pin in it.
We'll save it.
But you're
Spoiler
right.
alert. But
You're
yeah,
right.
it's
Like,
like-
just have your PR people get the word out. Like,
Yeah.
hey, one of the, if not the greatest track athlete of all time and one of the great marathon runners of all time is going to be at our booth from this time to this time. Come get an autograph. Come get your photo taken with him. Come and just weirdly stare at him while
But then
he
it was-
talks about the shoes.
Yeah.
It was also super annoying too, because I was like trying to like look to like get a photo or whatever, but they hired, I think, 7 or 8 photographer and videographers that literally he would be like in the middle of the entire booth of the pod and they would be like circled around him. And I was like trying to stick my arm in.
Yeah.
So that was also like, he was there, but he wasn't accessible either. You know what I mean?
It's one of the weird things about TRE, and this has happened every year, where it's like they'll have a celebrity guest athlete. One of the brands will just bring in one of their heavy hitters, and like there's just been no hoopla about it. And it's just like,
yeah.
oh, there's the greatest marathon runner of all time standing there in front of me.
Well, when I ran into Kelvin Kipton.
That's right. You met Kelvin Kipton
I
2
did.
years ago here.
Yes.
Because like Nike was
He
like,
was
"Eh,
there.
we'll just bring him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's bring him.
So
And he
it
was just hanging
wasn't.
out.
Yeah. So it wasn't the fact that he was there that disappointed me. It was how ANTA, the brand, handled it. I guess
It was anticlimactic.
It was.
Ooh.
It was indeed. It
Well
was
done.
quite lackluster.
Indeed.
So
And they got some crazy shoes.
they're
Like,
insane. I was looking.
I don't know if they're crazy good or just crazy,
They're
but
just
they've got some
crazy.
crazy shoes. I'm fascinated by that brand. They are a massive, massive brand in China.
But
and so
yeah.
thess globally.
Yeah. So that is my 3 wishes. No 2 stars.
3
just-
flaming hot takes.
Well
Mr.
done.
Sear, good luck following
Thank
that up.
you.
Yeah.
Get mean on us here.
Oh,
Give
okay.
us
You want
the
me to get
hot
me? Well,
takes.
I have to piggyback on one of Jesse's themes, the theme of poor marketing. But instead of picking on ANTA, I'm gonna pick on a brand that I think I've been a fan of for a really long time. What is it? It's a star and a wish. When you
2 stars. 2 stars and a
2
wish.
stars and a
So you're
wish. Well,
extra nice.
I wish that Saucony would take its marketing of its super shoes a little bit more seriously than it is.
They have a good super shoe.
They have a tremendous super shoe in the Endorphin Elite 2. Apparently today, they showed someone the Endorphin Elite 3. We saw them. They didn't show us the shoe. Why would you do that? Why not show us the shoe?
Yeah.
We're going
Hype
to
it.
hype the shoe. Like, we're doing your job for you. We're going to come back tomorrow and we're going to ask them to show us the
Please
shoe.
show us
Because
the
not
shoe.
only is it good for us, it's good for you. The last couple marathons we went to, major events, Saucony had some presence there that we went to go see, and their booths or their pop-up shops were pretty much bare. It's not that Saucony doesn't have the firepower or inventory to compete with all the other good brands. It's like they don't invest in it. They don't do it. They're spending a lot of time trying to do other things well, trying to include beginners. That's good, but you need both. If you want to be a top brand in sport, you need to be inclusive to beginners. You need to encourage people to get excited about your brand, but you need to cater to the elite. You got to show that you are one of the big players in the world. And even though they can do that, they don't do that, and I don't understand why.
Yeah, and it's one of these things as well where it's like, okay, the running event, it's become a really important like moment to showcase all of your next year's wares to the entire industry so that we have a really firm understanding of like where you're going as a company and what each of your products do, right? What each of your shoes are going to be doing in our case in 2026. So we have a really good understanding so we can communicate to our audience, this is what this shoe does, this is who it's for, and this is what we think about it. And I think if you're a brand and you're showing up and you're not prepared for that, or you're trying to do this thing where you're like, well, I'm going to like seriously embargo a lot of stuff that like, guys, your everyday trainer, your like secondary everyday trainer that's coming out in March does not need to be embargoed until March. Just let us know about it and let us talk about it and let us share it with the world so that more people know about it. And then like your shoe might be more successful. And I'm not specifically picking on Saucony for that. That's me thinking about another brand, but yeah, and we'll just leave them.
This happened with a few brands.
This happened with a few different brands. Yeah. Caitlin, Caitlin loves going negative.
This is the worst part of the podcast.
Caitlin's going to be like, the noon hydration booth didn't have enough flavors.
Yeah. It was only 2 free
you
flavors
are kind of
to
on
keep
the
me
right
hydrated
track.
all day.
Oh, is it about the noon hydration
No, of
truck?
course not. No.
Because I'm not letting you. That kept me alive.
I was
I
going to
know.
say that
Shout
saved
out-
the
shout
day.
out to the
That's
noon
the-
hydration
yes,
people.
absolutely.
They had like a little truck parked inside the convention center with a couple of like spigots, basically. Like it was
Trying
like
new
it was
flavors.
Like, it was like beer taps.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I just
Thank
was
you
like
for
chugging
keeping
that
us
all day.
semi-hydrated. That's actually what, because you guys know that I hate the negative side, and I just changed what I was going to say. I had an idea, and now I have a new idea. There needs to be food.
Oh my God, yes.
There
Thanks for
needs
saying
to
that,
be
man.
some sort of food or calories at the running event, because we don't have time. If we want to see everything, we don't have time to leave.
You're cheating right now. I'm like, tell the audience what is something critical that you're thinking about for them for 2026, and you're just like, I needed food on the expo floor so badly. I'm dying right now.
You did get
just-
an RX bar though.
I did, but I think it's just constructive criticism. To maybe have some options for us, because we're running around with meetings every 30 minutes for the better of 10 hours.
It's really the weirdest couple of days.
Because we don't really. We our bags were full of protein bars, but sometimes that's just not enough.
Yeah.
I ate 5 Cliff Bars today for lunch.
Oh, that's what I mean.
Okay. You know what? Yeah, this is not helpful to the person listening at home, but this needs to be aired. I hope someone from TRE hears. I've stolen too many David bars from Adidas booth.
We were just so
These people are
hungry.
like, the David bars, they just keep disappearing. I don't know where they go.
And for some reason, only chocolate peanut butter.
Very popular here in North America. We've been workshopping
The German accent. I think
German accent.
you're closer than I am. I'm still working on that one.
It's my heritage.
That's it.
Yeah. So for me, my criticism would be, and this kind of piggybacks on what you guys were saying, and this is a good and a bad thing. And I sound like such a whiner saying this, but I'm like, I just wish less stuff was embargoed.
Yeah,
now,
that's true.
like, I'll say that this is the ultimate tease here. Is earlier today, I held in my hand a shoe that is not coming out for another year that I so desperately want to talk about.
Yep.
That is really, really cool. And also, I know now about another shoe that doesn't even exist yet that I know a big company is designing that is going to change everything. And I so badly want to talk about it in detail.
You're sworn to secrecy. We're all sworn to secrecy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And yeah, that just, it grates at my brain that I can't nerd out about this stuff with everybody. But that's just,
Next year.
I just kind of cheated and sort of, that's my workaround right now. But yeah, lots of exciting stuff coming out. And I just wish we could talk more about some of the stuff. But I think it's really still, listen, I'm not complaining that we get to see this stuff, that we get to see behind the curtain, and then we get to see what's forthcoming, and we get to understand where this is all going, because I think it's useful for everybody, so that when we talk about what we're seeing with, say, a super shoe or a super trainer or everyday running shoe right now, we have a sense of where it's all going, and we're pretty educated in that regard, and we've seen what's coming up in a year, so we can talk about what we think about what's right now and where it's all going, because we have an understanding of that roadmap.
You know, if I knew everyone was going to be a lot nicer, I would have been a lot nicer too.
No, we needed your like smoldering hot takes and your cruelty, because we all just chickened out right now.
A little
but
bit.
You know what? I'm not going to let you guys chicken out, because we're going to play a little game before we conclude this podcast, which is, let's talk about some of the major brands and whether let's like do like a arrow stock up, stock down on where these brands are right now after you see what's coming up. So we're doing a little like, geez, this is actually almost like insider trading now that I'm thinking about it, because some of these companies are publicly traded, but it's like, would you buy stock in this company for 2026? Or are you kind of like, I'll hold, or are you like, I think I'm going to sell a little bit? So like, I don't know. Let's start off with like, and I guess some of us, we had to divide and conquer a little bit today. So like,
we didn't all get to see everything.
Yeah, we didn't all. We couldn't be in 3 places at once, and a few of the major brands decided to kind of go like
all at the same time.
Like kind of take each other on in a weird way. So like, there was like Brooks, Saucony, and Nike, right? All at the same time.
Yeah.
For like doing big presentations. So like, first, Alex, you and I were at Nike. Stock up, hold stock, or stock down with Nike?
Stock up, but slow and incrementally.
Yeah. Same here, but definitely stock up.
Stock up.
Yeah. They are like really into trail running all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of interesting.
Well, they didn't really have that before. So they're filling a need or filling a hole that they didn't have, and it's good. And I trust that on the performance side of things are also going to improve, even though it was already pretty high.
It was already pretty high, and they were trending in the right direction. They had a great year last year. I think what's going to happen is short term, the only big shoe drop they've got coming right now on the road side is the Structure Plus, which was announced this week. And you did a first look video. We got to look at the shoe and talk to one of the product heads at Nike about that shoe. So we're going to have that on our YouTube channel. But they got some stuff coming down the pike that it's going to be absolutely sick. And I'm like literally wearing them right now.
Yeah.
I got a pair of the Nike ACG Ultrafly, so their next generation trail racing super shoe.
Yeah. Fastest looking trail shoes that I think I've seen.
On my feet. I'm podcasting.
Are you also going to do
I can't get my feet up on the table. I couldn't do what Alex just did.
That.
So they're going to stay firmly on the ground, and because they're using grippy Vibram outsoles, you can't move them. My feet are stuck to the ground right now. So I got to find me a fast trail race in the next couple of months, because they don't come out until the springtime.
Saturday.
Exactly.
I'm going to run one in Costa Rica. Come on down.
I'll just do a little hop skipping. I'll just hop on the Marathon Handbook
with
PJ.
me.
I'll just fly down. Exactly.
and then come to Latvia in August.
There you go. In August, that's
he'll have new shoes by then, Jesse.
Exactly. I'll have moved on from these old things by then. So I'd say stock up with Nike. I think Nike is continuing to go in really cool directions. Okay, so we're not doing chronological. We're doing chronological order from what I can think of here. So Brooks. You were at Brooks with Kosuke, with our man behind the camera, Kosuke. So what, stock up, hold, or stock down? What are you thinking with Brooks?
I'm going to say, I want to see a thumbs up or thumbs down from Kosuke, but I'm going to say stock up, because Brooks is always so incredibly dependable, and not only are they continuing to be dependable, but they finally came out with some new innovation, and that was exciting. And Kosuke is giving me the signal as that he's going to hold.
He's holding.
Yeah,
okay,
he's holding.
Because it was like they launched a new shoe.
Yep.
But otherwise kind of conservative. Saucony, where are we at?
I'd say stock down, because like we were discussing, like they didn't really show us anything new, and when we were at the breakfast, there wasn't anything about the shoes. We got a pair of shoes, but there was no talk about the shoes. There was no
the rides are
promotion.
Nice, though.
Yeah, they were nice, but there was no promotion. They weren't doing anything to get us actively involved in what's coming with them. And so they weren't pushing any innovation at our event. So
again, great company that makes really good shoes.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Like in university, I was a Saucony.
You're a Saucony girl.
Gal through and through, but I wasn't. There were other brands that impressed me more than Saucony did today.
What's Adidas? We all were at Adidas. Where's the stock up with Adidas?
Huge
Stock
buy.
up.
Huge
Stock
buy.
up.
Huge
Yes.
buy. Biggest
Stock
buy
up.
of the day. Yeah, I don't think there's a brand that's made me more excited about their performance side of things than Adidas today.
All kinds of
Adidas.
stuff.
Adidas. Thank you. And if the gravel thing does catch on, hey, they have one of those.
And that's a sick looking shoe. That's going to become like a trendy like style shoe.
Yeah.
The Evo SL ATR.
All terrain ATR. Yeah.
That's going to become a style shoe. Well, mark my words, because it's slick looking.
You heard it here first.
That's right. And they got something coming that's going to kind of like complete everything for them, and that's all we're allowed to say. We're going to complete the lineup.
Hey,
so
can I throw a brand in your list, because it wouldn't be weird for you to forget them, because we haven't talked about this brand in like years or ever. Mizuno.
Right.
I knew that was coming, Alex.
Hey, Mizuno.
Stock up.
Stock up.
Stock way up.
Way up.
If there's a stock that's on a more dramatic upwards trajectory than Adidas, it's Mizuno. The vibe in the boot there was funny. It's like they knew that they had been absent for a while.
Right.
And the vibe was like, guys, like,
We've got
seriously
all
this
this,
time?
all
We're
this.
sorry we did. It's like a dad. It's like the parents got divorced and the dad hasn't talked to the kids in a while, and he comes back with a bunch of gifts and he's like, look,
shit, Christmas was a month ago.
I really messed up.
It's like when you tell your dad, "Oh, I like cheese," and he buys you 8 kinds of cheese.
Yeah.
Sure. You've been living in Belgium or something?
The cheese example
You're
was
doing
a bit
favor.
weird, but I think we get the memo.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know why I picked cheese,
So
but
Mizuno, I would say like a tip, I would buy actually, you know what? Let's be honest, the stock's pretty cheap right now, so I'd buy a lot of it, because why the hell not, right?
Were there any shoes that we tried on that were embargoed? No, right?
No embargoes.
No. Okay.
So
I can say that the new super shoe was wow.
it was really cool.
I put it on and I was like, holy smokes, this is the lightest shoe I've ever put on my foot, because I have not used the Adidas shoes that you have used. It was incredibly light, and I was like, I would love to try to run in these shoes.
They're super
I was
light.
shocked.
Yeah, and we'll have like a real detailed breakdown video of it, because there are 8 shoes. I'm not going to try to remember all their names perfectly right now. They all look like there's a trilogy of racing shoes, which is really cool. Kind of similar to what ASICS did with the Tokyo and the Ray.
The speed category, they called it.
Yeah. And the speediest one of all actually reminds me of the Ray. It's a very low guardrail shoe made for a stride that's near perfect. And then they have the like slight steps down from that shoe with a little bit more support
heavier,
to
a little more
accommodate stride that's maybe not exactly perfect or for a 2:15 marathon or faster like the Ray is. Then they have 2 separate super trainers. They have 2 separate easy running shoes depending on your preference. And then they have this like big bulky shoe that's not necessarily a super trainer, but that's a proper recovery shoe. So like the day after your race, you're really sore and you want a bunch of support. They're just unleashing all of it. They look to be of high quality. We're going to go, so we went to the booth today. We're going to go back tomorrow to talk to one of the lead product engineers who wasn't available today, just to get the full lowdown. But going from not really hearing much about the brand to having them release this full suite of shoes was pretty cool.
Quickly, Solomon. Stock up, stock down.
Hold, maybe?
same. Hold.
They're growing in a space that I think that I'm not bullish or bearish on, that I'm kind of like curious about what's going on. It's like this weird, like, well, we've talked about this gravel lifestyle. I don't know. I think it's too early to tell.
I think they're banking really hard on trends.
Yeah.
And trends can either
Trends
really,
are trendy. Yeah.
really shoot you up or just crash and burn. And I think they're banking a lot on trends.
So they're Dogecoin. No, that's not
They're
doing
a whole
justice.
bunch of nothing.
No,
That's not the case. Okay. So HOKA.
I would also hold, because I did not see a lot of movement with HOKA, right? There wasn't a lot of new stuff, at least that we can mention right now.
There's stuff we can't talk about.
Right, there's stuff that we can't talk about, but what we
But
can
you can
talk
be
about.
informed by the stuff you can't talk about.
Well,
Yeah,
I'll
I would
get-
still kind of hold.
down.
Oh, okay. Down?
Yep. I wasn't impressed.
You were not
They
impressed?
didn't sell me. I just wasn't impressed.
I'd say like a mild stock down, just because I think HOKA has become a massive company and an industry leader over the last 5 or so years. And I kind of expect more fireworks.
Yeah,
from
we expect
that
a lot.
company than I saw.
Yeah.
Although I will say there are some interesting things coming in the future for them that are not nothing. And I like some of their shoes quite a bit.
Like
So,
nothing gave me fireworks, Nothing
Yeah.
made me go
There's
like,
no warm and
oh,
fuzzies. There's
like
no,
nothing
like,
made me go,
ooh.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
there was a lot of O today, and there wasn't any there.
There was a lot of like, oh,
oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Like they're not making huge missteps, but
No.
like,
No, they're not doing anything wrong, but they're not doing anything, like I said, that would make me want to buy stock.
right?
Don't
exactly.
buy now.
Don't buy now.
Wait
Wait.
6 months and
That's
then
right.
buy. Because
Wait for an interest rate adjustment.
in a year's time,
yeah.
things are going to be better.
Yeah.
I think what's coming down the pike in this year will be so similar to last year that people might think it's disappointing in the short term. But after that, there are good things coming. We can talk about this because this is just known in the wider world. We're not really allowed to talk about what the prototype is, but we do know that Alex Masai ran a 204 in Chicago wearing a HOKA prototype, and that will be out at some point. We got to see the prototype, and that makes me think that the stock will go up.
New Balance.
Up.
Up.
Been hard on New Balance for the recent years because there was no change in their entire fleet. This was the most. This was the most difference I've seen.
Yeah.
It's like their files are rolling. There are new projects on the go.
There was innovation.
There was innovation. Someone
There's
is
stuff
breathing new
happening.
life into New
There's
Balance.
stuff
They're
happening.
cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it'll be an exciting year for them.
Can't say anything. about
Again, it's like tons of embargoes, but they'll be an
All
exciting year
top
for
secret.
them. Other brands do we? Puma. Oh.
I wasn't there that much, so I would like to pass.
You're abstaining.
I would like to pass because I cannot say anything positive nor negative. So
Fair.
pass. Thank you.
I will do the same because you and I were kind of hanging out.
We
at
were
that
doing-
point.
I think this is Alex. You were really getting in depth
Yeah.
with the new information.
Yeah.
What do you think?
So I'm thinking. I'm going to say hold.
Hold.
Yeah.
I'm going to say hold. I think their Magmax line. I think their Fast R3. I think even their Deviate has all of those shoes have bought Puma some time to just sit on those shoes for a while. They really made great strides last year, which by the way is the same with ASICS. We haven't gotten there yet, but I want to put the two together here because these are two shoe brands that have had massive 2025s. Doesn't make sense to expect for them to have an even bigger 2026.
Right.
But they're in such a good position that I'm not worried about either of them next year.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay, so ASICS.
Yeah, hold.
Hold.
Say hold as well, and
Yeah.
it's a funny one to hold on because I think they've done so much so right for the last few years that they are. I mean, we were talking to someone high up at another brand, and they were discussing how well ASICS has been doing and how smartly they've sort of constructed their lineup and how much market share they've eaten from many other big brands. And they're kind of doing everything right, but yet, like looking into the near future, they didn't really have a whole lot of new things. They had the Nimbus 28 coming out, and that's kind of it. But everything they've got is kind of awesome. So
Yeah, it is awesome.
they are. Any other?
ANTA.
I didn't
I didn't get
unknown.
to see.
Yeah,
Unknown for me too.
I can't. Well, we'll get back to you next
Stock
week.
up.
Stock up.
Because
they
they
were
were
there.
essentially like an unknown in North America
And they
before
were
this
there.
weekend. But
Yeah.
this weekend they were there and
I'd say
people were there.
That's another storyline. ANTA Kip Run, which is the brand that was started by the major European sporting goods brand Decathlon. They're making a big push into North America, and they spent crazy amounts of money here this week to hype up their brand. And
Mount to Coast.
Mount to Coast, which we've talked. Oh yeah, Mount to Coast is a brand. I guess we can stock up, stock down them.
Up.
I'd say up too. I think they're trending upward. Yeah.
On
Skechers.
let's talk about On first. We haven't seen them yet, so
We haven't seen what
we're not
On
going to
has
comment
to
on
offer
On
yet. I don't think we have to comment on the brand because we have got a ton of meetings tomorrow. So we've got other things that we're going to cover tomorrow. Yeah. And we can touch upon this in the next episode of the podcast. We can sort of
when we see the second half.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
We've only seen the first half.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think it was worthwhile getting us all together and huddling at the end of this very long, insane day. Because
it's like an instant reaction.
It's an instant reaction podcast of what is happening in 2026 before it's even happened in particularly the shoe, but the overall product industry of running. So, all right.
Time to go to sleep.
Time for you guys to go to sleep. Time for me to edit the
pod. Sorry, Michael.
Time for me and Kosuke to do our magic.
He just roped you in there, Kosuke.
Like Santa's little elves, we're going to magically create a podcast while you guys all get your beauty rest and get ready for a big day tomorrow.
And my big PR. No, I'm not going to jinx myself.
You're making us sound like, we're just going to precious going to sleep. Caitlin's got a big 5K to run. Yeah. I need to race an Olympian, man.
That's true. So we have big days, Alex.
Let us go to sleep.
Here's the tease. Okay, so we drop our podcast, of course, early in the morning on Thursday morning. So you're going to get this. We recorded literally, it's 10:38 p.m. Central Time right now.
6 hours, you'll get the podcast.
5 hours, but the magic of podcasting, you're going to receive this podcast. It's almost like from our lips to your ears, direct. We might as well have just done this thing live. And then as you're listening to that podcast over your morning cup of coffee, Caitlin Tossi is going to be out on the mean back roads of San Antonio, Texas, throwing down a sub 20-minute 5K.
Attempting.
Throwing down a sub 19:30 5K. Did I say 10K? I meant to say 5K. You're doing a 10K. No, you're doing a 5K.
I'm world recording it tomorrow.
Yes. So we're going to we've got a fun little project.
Yeah.
Caitlin is decided to be our... you're like our what was the first Laika, the first dog to go into space? Yeah, you're like you're like our moonshot project here tomorrow morning. She's gonna cam up and mic up, and she's going to document herself running. I know you're gonna do it. Let's just say a sub 20-minute 5K, and then we're going to have you do like a recap voiceover, breaking down the experience and walking you, the audience, through running that time and running that race.
Because I can't do it while I'm running. That's for sure.
Yeah, you're like, okay, and now I'll hyperventilating, and holy shit, this is hard. And why am I talking? I'm talking to myself.
Why am I doing this? I'm an ultra runner.
Yeah, it's like, why am I doing this? Yeah, so we're gonna so Caitlin's gonna run that event tomorrow. They've got something called the Indy 5K here at the running event, which is a really cool race that happens, and she's going to run it, and then we're going to put it on YouTube afterwards. It's going to be awesome. So that's going to drop probably within the next week afterwards. We have to edit it and put it together afterwards.
And you do need to sleep too.
I do, yeah. And so does Kosuke.
Needs to sleep.
And you know, if you, nothing's going to go wrong, but if you didn't feel like running it tomorrow morning, it just will never exist. That's all. Exactly. But something that will exist regardless of how amazingly or awfully it goes is we are recording the next episode, so the third episode in our Runs Like Hell series with American Olympic marathoner Jared Ward, and he will be running and spilling the beans about his life over the course of a progressive run 5K tomorrow morning on the back roads of San Antonio with Mr. Sear. And this is the first time Alex will be interviewing someone during this insane 5K where the person is actually faster than Alex. So
I'm really nervous.
Yeah, you're like it's almost 11 p.m. and I have to get up at 6 a.m. to run with this guy, and he is better than me.
All I've eaten are the freaking Adidas David bars.
The Adidas David bars.
And jambalaya.
That was a really good jambalaya. Jambalaya from Margaritaville. As authentic as they get.
All right. So let's wrap this up. And if you don't subscribe to our newsletter, by all means do so. That's where you're going to get all this stuff and get notifications every single morning of the week. We send it out, even if we're
here
doing 16 hours of running content. Yep. You will still get a newsletter in your inbox at 5:05 Eastern tomorrow morning. Please rate and review the podcast on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, because we're just pumping out the content, especially all of the shoe related stuff that we're doing and our fun special projects as well. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have links in the show notes for all that. All right, gang.
All right.
Let's see you tomorrow.
On to tomorrow.
On to tomorrow.
Go team on 3.
1, 2, 3, team.
Go team.
Go team.
All right.